we embark on a journey through the luminous heart of Ibn-Arabi, a beacon of mystical wisdom whose words ripple across centuries, awakening the soul and guiding the way to deeper understanding. His teachings are not mere utterances, but living flames that ignite the spirit and transform the very fabric of our being. Let us open the gateway to his wisdom with 10 quotes, each a jewel revealing facets of existence that, when held in the palm of our contemplation, will forever alter how we see ourselves, the world, and the divine. He who truly knows himself steps onto a path illuminated by a light far greater than the flickering shadows of ego and illusion. To know oneself is not to indulge in self-importance or vain contemplation, but rather to lift the veil that separates the individual from the sacred unity that permeates all existence. Like a mirror tarnished by dust, the heart and mind often fail to reflect the pure radiance of the sun within. It is only through patient cleansing, through peeling away the layers of pride, fear, and misconception, that we allow the divine light to shine clearly through our being. This journey inward is not a solitary confinement of the soul, but a courageous act of discovery. In moments when we hastily judge others, when bitterness or anger arise, we are often confronting the echoes of our own hidden shadows. These judgments are reflections cast from the dark corners of our own hearts, revealing fears and wounds that yearn for healing. To know oneself fully is to welcome these shadows without fear, to hold them tenderly in the arms of compassion, recognizing that the same divine spark that animates us also resides in every face we encounter. In this recognition, the boundaries that separate self from other begin to dissolve. We see not strangers, but fellow travelers on a shared journey, each carrying fragments of the divine mystery. Knowing ourselves, then, becomes an act of knowing the sacred presence that breathes through all things, the life force that is both intimately near and infinitely vast. This knowledge does not demand that we achieve perfection or erase our flaws. Rather, it invites us to embrace our whole selves with honesty and grace, understanding that the imperfections and the struggles are the very fabric through which divine wisdom is woven. Just as the night sky is adorned with stars because of its darkness, so too does our inner shadow hold the potential for illumination. To walk this path is to awaken from the illusion of separation, to realize that the self is not a fixed entity, but a dynamic reflection of the greater reality that enfolds us. It is to know that beneath the surface of personality lies an ocean of unity, deep and endless. When we begin to know ourselves in this way, we awaken to a profound peace, a sense of belonging that transcends all fleeting identities. And so, the journey of self-knowledge becomes a sacred pilgrimage, one that leads not outward to distant lands, but inward to the heart of being itself. It is here, in the depths of our own soul, that we find the true companion, the ultimate friend, the divine presence that has never left our side. To know oneself is to know this presence, and in this knowing, to find the source of all love, wisdom, and life. The universe is not a scattered collection of separate parts, but a single, complete unique being, an endless tapestry woven with threads of light, matter, and spirit. Each of us carries within our own being a reflection of this vast whole. We are not isolated islands adrift in a sea of emptiness, but microcosms mirroring the grand macrocosm. The stars that sparkle in the night sky, the earth beneath our feet, the rivers that flow, and the beating of our own hearts, all are intertwined, inseparable elements of one living reality. When we pause to truly consider this truth, a quiet transformation begins to stir within us. The fall of a leaf in autumn, the gentle ripple on a still pond, the rising and setting of the sun, these are not random or disconnected events. Each is a note in the symphony of existence, a step in the eternal dance of creation. Just as the leaf cannot fall without the tree, and the tree cannot stand without the earth, so too are we connected in ways invisible yet profound. To recognize this interconnectedness is to awaken empathy, not just as an abstract feeling, but as a tangible understanding that every living being shares the same breath, the same essence. This realization carries with it a deep responsibility. When we see ourselves as separate from the world, it becomes easy to disregard the suffering of others, to exploit nature without thought, or to act as if our choices have no wider consequence. But when we understand that all life flows from the same source, that the universe is a single living organism of which we are parts, then the care we show to others and the earth becomes care for ourselves. Imagine the universe as a vast body, with each creature and element a vital organ or cell. When one part suffers, the whole body feels the pain. When one part flourishes, the whole body benefits. This insight urges us towards stewardship, not as a burden, but as an expression of our very nature. It invites us to nurture the soil, protect the water, and honor the creatures great and small, knowing that in doing so, we sustain the life that sustains us. Beyond this, the understanding of unity dissolves fear and loneliness. When we see that the stars above and the pulse within our veins are born of the same cosmic breath, we begin to experience a profound belonging. The sense of isolation fades, replaced by a deep connection to the unfolding mystery of life. In this connection, we find a source of strength, joy, and peace. The illusion of separation clouds our vision, but when lifted, we glimpse the radiant oneness that binds all things. This oneness is not a static oneness, but a dynamic, living reality, always growing, always evolving, always embracing. To live with this awareness is to live with a heart wide open to wonder, compassion, and gratitude for the miraculous unity of all existence. In embracing this truth, we come to see that our own lives are not small or insignificant, but integral to the grand design. We are threads in the cosmic tapestry, each unique, each essential, each a vital expression of the one being that is the universe itself. Love is not merely a feeling or a fleeting emotion. It is the very essence of our being, the sacred thread that weaves through the fabric of existence itself. It transcends the boundaries of creed, culture, and ceremony, standing beyond rituals and dogmas. Love is the true religion, an eternal truth that does not require walls, words, or symbols, for it is written in the heart of every living soul. To embrace love is to step into the presence of the divine, to recognize that all of creation is born from and sustained by this boundless, radiant force. The universe itself is the grand mosque, a vast and infinite sanctuary where love is the prayer and reverence is the act of worship. Every mountain, every river, every star in the night sky sings the silent hymn of love. The breeze that touches our skin, the warmth of the sun, the gentle rhythm of the rain. These are sacred invitations to open our hearts and participate in the sacred dance of love that moves through all things. The mosque is not a building, but the very space in which life unfolds, and in that space, love is the language spoken by the cosmos. To live in this awareness is to transform every moment into an act of devotion. Each breath becomes a sacred offering, each meeting with another soul a chance to honor the divine presence within them. When we look at another person through the eyes of love, we see beyond their surface, beyond race, religion, or status, and recognize a reflection of the same light that burns within us. This recognition dissolves the barriers of separation and fear, weaving threads of compassion and understanding where before there was division. In a world often fractured by conflict, suspicion, and isolation, the call of love invites us back to unity. It reminds us that beneath the noise and chaos, the true nature of reality is connection. When love becomes our guiding principle, walls crumble and hearts open. We begin to see that our differences are but petals of the same flower, each unique yet inseparable from the whole. This perspective does not demand perfection or agreement, but calls for a gentle acceptance of the other, a willingness to meet in the sacred space of shared humanity. To walk the path of love is to awaken to a deeper reality, one where every moment holds the potential for healing and transformation. It is to carry within ourselves a light that can soften anger, heal wounds, and inspire courage. Love becomes the sacred ritual we perform not with words or ceremonies, but through kindness, presence, and grace. When love is our religion and the universe our mosque, we are invited to live fully and fearlessly, to surrender to the mystery of life with an open heart. This is the essence of spiritual awakening, not in distant heavens, but here and now, in the embrace of love that binds us all. In this sacred embrace, we find peace, purpose, and the profound knowing that we are never alone. The quest for the real, the ultimate truth that lies beyond the surface of our everyday lives, is not a journey that takes us outward into distant lands or lofty temples, but one that leads deep within the tender chambers of the heart. It is there, in the quiet sanctuary of sincere seeking, that the divine begins to reveal itself, not as an abstract concept or a far-off mystery, but as a living presence that breathes within us. The true pilgrimage is not a path marked by grand monuments or external rituals, but an inward voyage guided by the earnest yearning of the soul. Many who have embarked on this journey have faced overwhelming trials, storms of doubt, waves of despair, moments when the light seemed to vanish altogether. Yet, time and again, these seekers discovered that the peace they sought was not somewhere beyond reach, but nestled quietly in the stillness of their own hearts. It is a sacred silence, deeper than any noise, where the soul meets itself and glimpses the divine spark that has been there all along. This unveiling of the real is not sudden or dramatic. It is a gentle awakening, like the slow unfurling of a flower at dawn. When we are willing to sit with our fears, to look honestly at our struggles and doubts without turning away, the heart softens and begins to open. In this openness, the veil lifts and the truth reveals itself, not as a dazzling spectacle, but as a quiet knowing that transcends words. The answer is always closer than we think, waiting patiently within us like a hidden spring ready to nourish our thirsty spirit. It is easy to search for God or truth in external places, ancient texts, distant lands, wise teachers, and there is value in these guides and traditions. But without the inner readiness to receive, these outward journeys remain incomplete. The real cannot be grasped with the mind alone, it is felt with the heart. It is a presence that calls us into intimacy, inviting us to come home to ourselves, to recognize that the sacred is not separate from us, but woven into the very fabric of our being. The heart of the seeker is like a fertile soil where seeds of truth are planted through patience, surrender, and love. With time and care, these seeds take root, growing into wisdom that lights the way forward. This path is often solitary and silent, yet it connects us profoundly to all of existence. As the heart opens, the boundary between self and other begins to dissolve, and the unity of life is experienced not just as an idea, but as a living reality. In this sacred unveiling, fear is replaced by trust, confusion by clarity, and loneliness by a deep sense of belonging. The seeker learns that the journey inward is also a journey outward, a journey toward compassion, presence, and grace in the world. To seek the real is to embrace the mystery of life with an open heart, knowing that the divine light shines brightest not on distant altars, but in the humble depths of our own being. There is a profound mystery hidden in the very heart of existence, a paradox that challenges our deepest assumptions about self and fulfillment. It is said that the one who has attained nothingness has, in truth, attained everything. At first, these words may seem contradictory, even unsettling, for in a world that prizes achievement, accumulation, and certainty, to speak of nothingness sounds like loss or emptiness. Yet, this nothingness is not a void of despair, but a fertile ground from which all life and creation emerge. To attain nothingness is to surrender the ego's tight grip. The false self built from fears, desires, and illusions of control. It is to dissolve the walls that separate us from the boundless ocean of being beneath the surface of our everyday identity. When these walls fall away, what remains is not absence, but the infinite space in which new possibilities arise. This emptiness is a vast, open field where creativity, freedom, and life itself take root and bloom. It is the source from which the entire cosmos flows, the womb of all becoming. In daily life, this teaching invites us to release our clinging to control and certainty. We often believe that holding tightly to what we know, Our roles, plans, and expectations will protect us from chaos or loss. Yet, it is precisely in this clinging that we become trapped, confined to a narrow vision of ourselves and the world. When we allow ourselves to let go, even just a little, we discover an unexpected liberation. Doors open where before there were only walls. Paths appear through the dense forest of fear and doubt. This surrender is not weakness, but strength. It is a courageous act to face the unknown, to embrace uncertainty with an open heart. In doing so, we become vessels of infinite potential, empty, yes, but overflowing with the creative energy of the universe. Like a river that must release itself into the ocean to fulfill its destiny, so too must we release the self we cling to in order to become who we are truly meant to be. This process may feel unsettling, like stepping into darkness without a lamp. But within that darkness lies the fertile soil of transformation. From this place of nothingness, the seeds of new understanding, compassion, and wisdom grow. We become more adaptable, more present, more alive. The false self, which once demanded certainty and control, fades like a shadow at dawn, revealing the radiant light of our true nature beneath. Life invites us repeatedly to practice this letting go, in relationships, in work, in moments of fear or loss. Each time we surrender, we deepen our connection to the flow of existence and awaken to the vastness within ourselves. Nothingness is not a destination, but a living, breathing reality that accompanies us when we embrace the mystery of life without resistance. To live in this truth is to dance with the paradox of existence, to find fullness in emptiness, strength in surrender, and freedom in letting go. It is a path that leads not to loss, but to the profound realization that by becoming nothing, we become all. Each moment of existence carries within it a sacred invitation, a fresh beginning, untouched and full of possibility. Like an artist before a blank canvas, we are given each breath, each second, as a chance to paint anew, to awaken from slumber, and to realign ourselves with the unfolding mystery that we call life. This moment is not merely a point between what has been and what will be. It is a gateway to transformation, a sacred doorway through which the divine continually invites us to enter again. So often, however, we find ourselves trapped, ensnared by the weight of past regrets that anchor us in what can no longer be changed, or caught in the anxious grip of future worries where fear and anticipation cloud the clarity of what is. We carry the burden of yesterday's mistakes and tomorrow's uncertainties, forgetting that life's true gift does not reside in what once was or what might yet come, but in the vibrant pulse of the now. This eternal present, fleeting yet infinite, holds the power to liberate us from chains we ourselves have forged. To embrace this moment fully is to release both regret and hope, not as dismissals of our experiences or aspirations, but as a surrender to the life that flows through us here and now. When we stop clutching at the past or chasing after a future ideal, we open ourselves to the profound reality that each breath is new, that each heartbeat offers a fresh opportunity to begin again. The past may have shaped us, but it does not define us. The future may beckon, but it does not imprison us. In this understanding lies a deep freedom. Imagine how much energy is wasted carrying yesterday's sorrows or tomorrow's fears, when instead that energy could be poured into the present, into the simple act of being here, fully alive. Each moment is a chance to step into a new rhythm, to reorient our lives toward love, compassion, and presence. It is an invitation to awaken from the sleep of distraction and meet life with open eyes and an open heart. This perspective transforms how we live. Challenges become opportunities for growth rather than insurmountable walls. Mistakes become lessons rather than chains. Relationships deepen because we engage fully, free from the ghosts of past hurts or the shadows of future expectations. Life ceases to be a race against time and becomes instead a sacred dance with the moment. When we recognize that every moment is a fresh beginning, we begin to see the world itself as a continual miracle, constantly renewing and reshaping itself. The divine is not distant or static, but alive in the ever-changing present, inviting us into a relationship that is vibrant and immediate. This awareness fosters gratitude, humility, and joy, as we realize that we need not wait for some distant moment of perfection to start living fully. The perfect time is now. To live with this understanding is to live with a heart that is always open, always ready to receive the new. It is to be like the river that never clings to one place, but flows endlessly onward, refreshed and renewed at every turn. Each moment is a fresh beginning, a sacred gift, an eternal invitation to awaken, to love, and to be fully present in the mystery of existence. The universe that surrounds us is not merely a random collection of things or events, but a vast and wondrous mirror, reflecting back the divine attributes that flow through every corner of creation. When we open our eyes and hearts with sincerity, we begin to see justice, mercy, beauty, and wisdom not as distant ideals or abstract concepts, but as living realities that shine forth in the world around us. These qualities do not exist apart from the divine essence. Rather, they are the very face of that essence made visible, the fingerprints of the sacred imprinted on the fabric of existence. Every act of kindness that softens a weary heart, every courageous step taken in the face of fear, every moment of profound beauty that catches our breath. These are reflections of a greater reality, glimpses of the divine nature in motion. When we witness such moments, we are reminded that the qualities we admire in others are not separate from ourselves or from the sacred source that animates all life. Instead, they are invitations to recognize the same divine light dwelling within us, waiting to be nurtured and expressed. To understand that the universe is a mirror is to awaken to a deep responsibility and opportunity. If the world reflects divine attributes, then cultivating justice, mercy, beauty, and wisdom within ourselves is not merely a moral choice. It is a participation in the unfolding of sacred truth. The reflection we see is an echo of what we carry inside. By embodying these qualities, we polish the mirror of our own soul, allowing the divine to shine more clearly through us. Imagine a simple act of mercy, a hand offered to someone in need, a word spoken to heal rather than harm. In that moment, the divine's compassion is reflected not only in the gesture, but also in the heart of the giver and the receiver. Such acts ripple outward, weaving threads of sacred connection through the fabric of community and life itself. Similarly, when we stand for justice, we echo the cosmic order that sustains balance and harmony, participating in the sacred dance that holds the universe together. Beauty, too, is a reflection of the divine, seen in the delicate petals of a flower, the graceful flight of a bird, the gentle curve of a smile. When we pause to appreciate these glimpses, we are drawn into a silent conversation with the sacred, a reminder that the divine is not confined to distant realms but lives here in every detail of this world. Wisdom, the deep knowing that rises beyond knowledge, guides us to see these reflections with clarity and humility, teaching us how to live in harmony with the sacred pattern that weaves through all things. Recognizing the universe as a mirror reflecting the divine calls us to an inner transformation. It encourages us to look inward, to awaken the qualities we admire outside, and to become living reflections of the sacred attributes that sustain and enliven creation. In this recognition, the boundaries between self and other, human and divine, begin to dissolve, revealing the profound unity that underlies all existence. To walk in this awareness is to live with eyes and heart wide open, seeing every moment and every being as a reflection of the divine mystery. It is a call to embody justice, to offer mercy, to celebrate beauty, and to seek wisdom, not as distant goals, but as the natural expressions of a soul aligned with the sacred mirror that is the universe itself. To journey toward the divine reality, one must first be firmly rooted in love, an unshakable foundation upon which all else is built. Love is not a fleeting emotion or an occasional feeling of warmth. It is the very essence and ground of spiritual ascent. Without it, knowledge, no matter how vast, becomes cold and distant, and faith, however strong in words, grows barren and hollow. Love breathes life into the soul's search, turning mere understanding into living experience, transforming belief into profound knowing. Love is the flame that ignites the heart's deepest yearnings and sustains the traveler through the trials of the path. It is the force that moves us beyond self-interest, beyond ego and fear, drawing us closer to the sacred truth that dwells at the core of existence. When love takes root within us, it shapes our thoughts, colors our actions, and becomes the language in which the soul speaks to the divine. In the world we live in, this love manifests in many forms: acts of kindness that require no reward, sacrifices made quietly and without recognition, compassion extended to those who seem undeserving, and the resilience to stand firm amid hardship. These are not merely virtues to be admired from afar, but the very pillars upon which a true spiritual life rests. Each moment when we choose love over indifference, generosity over greed, understanding over judgment, we move closer to the divine reality that is love itself. Consider how love motivates the parent who stays awake through the night to soothe a child, the friend who listens deeply, without offering advice, the stranger who extends a helping hand without expectation. These small acts are not insignificant. They are the sacred steps of the spiritual journey. In love's embrace, we find the courage to forgive wounds, both given and received, to heal the fractures within ourselves and in the world around us. Without love, knowledge can turn into pride, faith into fanaticism, and spirituality into an empty ritual. But when love becomes the center, all else finds its true meaning and purpose. It softens the hardness of the heart and opens the eyes to see the sacred in every face and every moment. Love dissolves boundaries between self and other, human and divine, revealing the unity that underlies all creation. To be established in love is to dwell in a space where the heart is wide open, receptive to the mysteries of existence and the subtle whispers of the divine presence. It is a state of being where faith is lived, not just believed, where knowledge is embodied, not just studied, where the divine reality is not a distant ideal, but a living presence felt in every breath and every act. In this way, love is the path, the light, and the destination. It is the very essence of spiritual life, the soil in which the seeds of wisdom, compassion, and peace grow strong and true. To reach the divine reality, then, one must first be rooted in love. For it is love that transforms the seeker into the beloved and the journey into union. The path of the seeker unfolds in two directions, seemingly opposite yet deeply intertwined: outward, toward the world around us, and inward toward the hidden realms of the heart. One cannot journey wholly along this path by turning solely inward or only outward, for the true way is a delicate dance between the two, a harmony that embraces both the outer reality and the inner truth. The world we walk in, the people we meet, the challenges we face, the joys and sorrows that color our days, are not distractions from the spiritual journey, but essential parts of it. Likewise, the quiet moments of reflection, the stillness of meditation, and the depths of self-inquiry are not escapes from life, but keys to understanding it more deeply. The outer world is the mirror in which we see ourselves reflected, with all our virtues and shadows. It is the arena where love is tested, compassion is practiced, and justice is sought. To truly grow spiritually, the seeker must engage fully with the realities of life, the suffering and beauty, the injustices and acts of kindness that shape human experience. Service to others becomes a sacred act, a way to embody the divine presence in the world. When we reach out to heal a wound, feed a hungry soul, or speak truth to power, we are walking the path outward, allowing our spiritual insights to take form in action. Yet, this external engagement alone is not enough. Without turning inward, without the deep meditation and self-reflection that reveals the hidden layers of the self, our actions can become hollow, our efforts fragmented. The inner journey brings awareness to our motivations, uncovers the illusions that bind us, and reveals the true nature of the heart beneath the masks we wear. It is in this silence, away from the noise of the world, that the seeker listens to the whisper of the divine, the subtle guidance that directs the soul's unfolding. Together, these two movements create a whole, like the breath that inhales and exhales, sustaining life. The seeker learns that growth is not a solitary climb away from the world, but a weaving together of outer service and inner awakening. When we connect our personal meditation with acts of social justice, when we blend compassion with courage, we step into a fuller realization of enlightenment. The spiritual life is not separate from the world's struggles, but intimately linked to them. For the divine pulse beats through every moment, every encounter. This holistic path teaches us to hold paradox with grace, to be present both in our solitude and in our relationships, to balance reflection with action, to embrace vulnerability while standing firm in our truth. In the tension between inward stillness and outward movement, the seeker finds a dynamic harmony that nourishes the soul and serves the world. To walk this path is to awaken to the sacredness of life itself. In the quiet moments when we turn within, and in the vibrant moments when we step forth to serve, it is to recognize that the journey to the divine is neither a flight away from the world nor a surrender to it, but a beautiful weaving of both. The seeker's way is a living tapestry, crafted with the threads of outer engagement and inner knowing, inviting us to become whole in the unfolding mystery of existence. There is a truth so intimate, so profoundly tender, that it overturns the very foundation of our sense of separation and distance. It is said that the divine, God, is nearer to us than the very jugular vein, that most vital artery coursing through our bodies. This is not a poetic exaggeration, but a profound revelation that invites us to reconsider what we believe about our relationship with the sacred. The divine is not a distant figure, unreachable and remote, but an ever-present reality, closer than the breath we draw, more immediate than the beat of our hearts. This nearness shatters the illusion that we stand apart from the source of all life and meaning. To sense this closeness is to touch the core of existence, where the divine presence flows through every fiber of our being. It means that in every moment, whether of joy or despair, triumph or loss, the sacred is with us, whispering in the silence, holding us in a compassionate embrace. This knowledge transforms the way we experience life. When we stumble through hardship or feel the weight of sorrow, we are not abandoned. The divine is there, nearer than our own pulse, offering strength and solace beyond words. When we celebrate moments of happiness and gratitude, that same nearness invites us to recognize the sacredness within the ordinary, making every breath a hymn of connection. This closeness is not something to be sought in faraway temples or distant heavens, but to be realized within the intimacy of our own lives. It calls us to awaken to the sacred in the present moment, in the rhythm of our breathing, the beating of our hearts, the very cells that make us who we are. To live with the awareness that God is nearer than our jugular vein is to live without fear of loneliness or abandonment. To walk through life with a deep and abiding courage rooted in the assurance of divine companionship. Such awareness also humbles us, reminding us that the sacred is not confined to grand miracles or transcendent experiences, but is found in the simple, often unnoticed moments that make up our days. It is present in a child's laughter, the kindness of a stranger, the gentle rustle of leaves in the wind. This immanence invites us to cultivate a heart attuned to the subtle presence that surrounds and permeates all things. Remembering this closeness invites a profound shift in how we relate to ourselves and others. It calls us to see beyond surface appearances, to recognize the divine spark within every being, every face, every interaction. It softens the walls we build between self and other, opening a space where compassion and understanding can flourish. The nearness of the divine becomes a wellspring of empathy, healing, and connection. In the quiet moments of reflection, when the noise of the world fades away, we may come to rest in this sacred intimacy. There, in the silence between breaths, we encounter a presence so near, so gentle, that it becomes the very ground of our being. It is an ever-present invitation to awaken, to trust, and to live fully, knowing that we are never alone, that the divine is always, unmistakably near, closer than our own jugular vein. Dear friends, the words we have reflected upon today are not mere echoes of a distant past, but living sparks that kindle the fire of awakening within our hearts. They call us gently, but insistently to embark on a journey, both inward and outward, where the veils of illusion begin to dissolve, and the radiant truth of love emerges as the very fabric of all reality. These teachings invite us to know ourselves deeply, beyond the surface stories and masks, to see with new eyes the unity that underlies the rich diversity of life, and to walk with renewed passion the path of presence and compassion. To carry these truths lightly as mere ideas or distant philosophies would be to miss their profound power. Instead, let us hold them as precious light that illuminates the darkest corners within us, revealing hidden fears, buried wounds, and forgotten dreams. And just as this inner light grows, so too does it reach outward, touching the world around us with warmth and clarity. In this way, awakening becomes not only a personal gift, but a shared blessing, a way of healing and renewing the world we inhabit. There is a timeless whisper threading through these teachings, a voice that speaks across centuries to remind us that we are not isolated fragments, but reflections of the divine mystery itself. We are mirrors, reflecting back the sacred qualities we see and seek: love, mercy, justice, wisdom. We are vessels, carrying the sacred presence in our very being, called to embody its grace in all that we do. And we are seekers, forever drawn toward truth, moving beyond certainty into the endless unfolding of understanding. As we carry this light forward, let it inspire us to live with courage and openness, to embrace both our strengths and vulnerabilities, and to meet others with the compassion that arises from knowing ourselves deeply. Let it remind us that every moment holds the possibility of transformation, every encounter a chance to awaken to the sacred. In this way, the path becomes not a distant goal, but a living journey, rich with meaning and connection. May these words become a guide and a companion as you navigate the complexities of life, and may they inspire within you the courage to explore the depths of your own soul. As we walk this path together, may we become ever more radiant mirrors, reflecting the boundless love and mystery at the heart of all existence.